I did promise, didn't I? Now, if you remember and if you watched my GamesCom booth coverage for MOZA Racing, you've seen loads of cool stuff and what they presented during that booth tour, and it was quite interesting, I do have to say. Apart from those 3 sim rigs that they had set up for driving, they actually showed us quite loads of new stuff that are arriving, and I promised I will try to cover as much as possible. And one of those products is right here. These are CRP2 racing pedals. And apart from this box, because you get brake, throttle, you get additional springs and spacers for adjusting anything when we're talking about the pressure of the brake, or even the, if you decide to do so, for the throttle. But that's not all, because what you can do is you can acquire this. Now, this right here is CRP2 Performance Kit, which gives you an option, well, basically gives you loads of other springs for adjustability when we're talking about each pedal. So you can adjust F1, F2. They already have like presets of these spacers and springs. So F1, F2, LMP1, GT3, GT4, Rally Car, and Supercar. All of this is already written here, and you can combine everything because they have the presets on the paper, and you just have to adjust them with the springs located inside this box. But for instance, if you need a clutch pedal, you have it right here, so you can grab the CRP2 clutch pedal and add it accordingly on the left side right here. So what's it all about? And first impression, and I'll be straight honest, right? I really like the design of CRP1. I can't deny that. The pedals look outstanding, and I'm talking only for the visual aspect, because the throttle one looks outstanding, and it has full pedal, like really big pedal right here, which does look, but it also handles better in terms of more space to cover when we're talking about throttle, because after all, you are pushing the throttle to the maximum constantly. You're not pushing the brake constantly to the maximum, clutch eventually, and that's only while shifting. But we're talking about throttle, which should have been a full pedal, but okay, that's just my opinion, and that's it. Now, when we're talking about in general specs and what you could expect from the CRP2 pedals, they're designed from aviation grade aluminum. We have 200 kilos load cell sensor, 15-bit precision angle sensor, adjustable pedal fill for all racing cars, as already stated. With the additional performance kit, you can really get there and have the maximum of, let's say, the enjoyment of racing a certain car to get that proper sim racing feel. Then you have the adjustability for the springs and travel, and it also supports inverted layout. So what does this mean? When we take into consideration that regularly what you get in pedals for sim racing, they are usually located like this, right? Well, MOZA did something quite interesting. You can mount, I think here on these 4 holes on each side, you can mount opposite mounting system, let's put it this way, where the pedals are flipped. So they're completely opposite side, right? Well, basically inverted. So this is quite interesting as well. Now, in addition to everything, we have a carbon fiber heel plate, which looks quite nice. In addition to that, we have 125 types of brake pedal feel, which gives you an option to really customize it. Fully adjustable throttle and clutch, smooth and quiet design in terms of movement. Then we have tool-free adjustment, but this is for the adjustment. When you have to mount the pedals, you have 4 screws for each, which is actually quite easier. I can't remember for the CRP1 because it was a long time ago, but this is quite easy to mount, and especially the stopper right here. You have 2 screws, you just place them in, that's it. So what I wanted to do with the carbon fiber heel plate is to give that sporty touch, but features a slick 3K twill carbon fiber design, which does look quite impressive, I do have to say, and goes quite nicely inside the whole combination. Now, the high precision angle sensor has a patented sensor fusion algorithm, which the system combines a 15-bit angle sensor with a load cell sensor. So this approach actually ensure somewhat exceptional precision. So you get a perfect, and this is actually, I'm going to interrupt that sentence and say this is good for memory training, for muscle memory, because as I stated in the past review when I was talking about the R3 bundle, in those pedals, you don't, with the SRP, you don't have that much force feedback when pressing the brake. This way, and for the throttle as well, but this way you get some sort of memory training for the muscle memory, let's put it this way. You train up your muscle to be able to recognize immediately, so you don't have to think each time how much you have to press, what you have to press, or stuff like that. So this is really good. With those spacers or dampening blocks as they call them, you have option for 55, 70, 80 and 95, 98 hardness levels, which allows you to be able to combine up to 125 different brake pedal feels combination. So it goes from basic road cars to the even F3, well, basically F1, because basic cars and then the pinnacle is F1 after all. So the combination is quite interesting without a doubt. You have 3-stage adjustable clutch, which you can buy separately, which mimics the feel of a high-performance car with 3 distinct stages. The first stage offers a short travel with light resistance. Then the second stage increases it sharply. There's also a possibility to adjust the travel and angles, so this offers extensive adjustability without a doubt. Pedal distance, footrest position, and pedal face height are up to 30 millimeters, and they're all adjustable, accommodating different foot sizes, which, as already stated, fully customizable, and this is really nice. Now, since I mentioned last time in the last review, R3 bundle, we had Xbox compatible ESX steering wheel, and you can simply connect the CRP2 pedals directly to the base to set it up entire system for Xbox with the CRP2 pedals, as already stated, because the ESX steering wheel has the chip for Xbox, which is good. And when we're talking about durability and reliability, each pedal, brake, throttle and clutch have undergone over 1 million press cycles, which definitely, I don't know what to say. I mean, this is really outstanding. So without further ado, and when we're talking about discussing the specs and what you could do when we're talking about adjusting visual aspects, carbon fiber, positions of the pedals, because you have loads of holes here where you could reorganize the pedals as you wish and as you basically feel comfortable with. Let's dive into MOZA Pit House and check what we can expect over there to give you some more information of adjustability and similar stuff like that. Okay guys, so we're at MOZA Pit House, and the way I connected these pedals are directly to the new R16. So quite straightforward basically. At the back of the plate, the main plate of the CRP2, you have, I think it's four RJ, and one is RJ45 and that one is going out at the back to connect it to R16. The others are regular phone cables, something like that. I don't know the exact name, but they connect the load cell, they connect the brake, and they connect the throttle, and you have one more, which is clutch. Logical, right? So you connect those three, since of course I'm going to drive a formula here, and you connect those three. If you add clutch, you just connect the clutch. Additionally, that's all there is to it. Then one thing, you can connect the pedals directly to your PC without the RJ45 cable running to the R16. Or if you have an older base, like I do, well, this is the new one, but usually I go with the older one because I use the new one for new reviews and everything that comes up. So if I use the older one, I can connect it via USB, but I connect it with new R16 with RJ45. So I just wanted to make that clear so you know everything about it. So when we enter MOZA Pit House, you basically have the CRP2 pedals immediately here visible just with the RJ45. So this is outstanding. So regular scenario, when we're at the MOZA Pit House, you have the steering wheel, you have the base, and you have the pedals. Now here it shows that we have the clutch here as well, but basically when you press the throttle, it shows the throttle, and I need to set this on, well, no, basically this is the maximum. Wow. So you actually have to pull it a bit harder. And then you have throttle, which honestly, even with the original settings in the springs, I could barely push 70 65%. This is it. This is it. This is the maximum that I can push. Yeah, that's it. So let's go into more details so I could give you, of course, more information about it. But basically, this is, yeah, 70, and I'm really ripping the whole leg. This is 60 at best. Let's see if I don't push too much. 50%. 50% on pressing this brake pedal. Eventually, 60 something. Yeah, that's it. But throttle is easy without any problems. So let's go. It's quite straightforward. There's no complication. Well, I didn't mean complications, but there's no too much settings when we're talking about the pedals, because we have clutch output curves, we have brake output curves, and we have throttle output curves. What I usually do with the brake, and specifically in this scenario, I go with this settings. Why with this? Because when I push it, as you can see, it's going now at 82, 83% instead of 60. Of course, you can regulate that and go with some custom settings and adjust this position at the maximum, or you could go back in the home and basically set there that you have this as 100%, so you don't have to kill your leg to access basically the 100% of the brake while pressing it. In that scenario, we have a brake calibration. So we have a reverse option for all of those. You can calibrate clutch, throttle, and brake at the same, well, not at the same time, but let's see. Start calibration. Please click start to calibrate. Let's go. Fully press down, then completely release the pedal. Calibration successful. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so when you calibrate the brake pedal, as I did, because honestly, I didn't know in this scenario what will happen. When I calibrated the brake pedal, what happens now is I press the brake and it goes to 100%. Thanks to the curve, thanks to the calibration, this is what I get. Let's go with the original settings, and it goes to 100% now as well. So this is also quite important, because this is the part where I was talking about the muscle memory. Because if you're used to this one, this curve for your brake, you'll know exactly where to press and how much to press. Of course, in this scenario now, what I did is the brake is too easy. But if you go back and adjust everything, that's it. You can do the same thing for the throttle as well, because let's go with the calibration. Start calibration, press down 100%. That's it. Calibration in progress. Let's see. Calibration complete. And what we do now is we have 100% throttle, but you don't have to push like a maniac to achieve those last 5% of the throttle, which in racing is quite important, because what happens, you're thinking that you're pushing to the maximum, but you have that 5% in your car, formula, or whatever you're driving isn't going at 100%, isn't getting throttle 100%, and you're still missing those 5%, which is good. So always calibrate. Of course, you can go with default settings, which restarts everything to the beginning as it was. Import settings if you're going somewhere else, or I don't know, if you have something preset, or I think there are presets that you could download from some websites. I'm not quite sure where, but I heard that's an option, and you have a possibility to save the settings, of course. There's also one more option for the brake. You have sensor output ratio, which basically gives you when the slider is pulled all the way to the left, the output signal comes solely from the angle sensor. When it's pulled all the way to the right, the output signal comes solely from the load cell sensor. At the midpoint, the output signal is 50% from the angle sensor and from the load cell sensor. So you can basically do some, let's say, additional adjustment, which will give you precise movements in braking, muscle memory, and all the other stuff. So guys, basically, it's quite straightforward when we're talking about pedals in general, but we have CRP2 now compared to the CRP1. They are better equipped when we take into consideration opening the box, because you have loads of springs, loads of spacers to adjust and to get how do you say, perfect brake pressure in each individual racing segment: F1, F2, F3, GT, GT3, GT4, rally, or whatever. It gives you that perfect feel. You just have to follow all the instructions that they have and align those springs and spacers to get basically that what I was talking about. So this is really cool. This is really cool because we go a bit higher up to achieve that perfect sim racing. I mean, I don't have to talk about the base and the wheel. You already know that. You already seen the FSR and the R16, and pairing it up with this, it's something really high end, I do have to admit. Also, I do have to say that I'm really still digging the old CRP, the design of the pedals, because as I am more into technical stuff, I'm also a visual person. So if something is appealing but still works great, I don't mind if it's a past gen. Let's call it that way. So, guys, yeah, that's all that I can say. Really enjoying the pedals because they give a different. It's not that drastical different movement or pressure, but they come already preset from the factory with great possibility to train that muscle memory. So yeah, I hope I explained it correctly and in terms of that you can understand. And that'll be all for today, guys. The link for the CRP2 is in the description below, as well as R16, the new version as well. And eventually, if you want to go, you can always go with the FSR if you're into Formula One racing or any other wheel that they have, like KS, Vision GS, or anything similar to that. Guys, it's up to you to decide which wheel. Maybe you'll go with multiple wheels and just swap them around. Who knows? It's all up to you to decide. Links are in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, click the notification bell. I'll see you soon in another one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.